Night at the Museum movie review. So this is part of my scripted movie review series in which I go back and I read old reviews that I've written on the blog years ago. I mention that specially because I think perception of this movie has changed a bit over the years, or I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I remember when this came out, it seemed to get a lot of bad reviews at the time. It's kind of my memory at least. I've been seeing on YouTube recently a lot of kind of retrospectives of this movie in which people really seem to love it. And I'm wondering maybe, the average YouTuber maybe being a few years younger than I am, maybe kind of people who grew up with this movie, nostalgia factor is beginning to kick in. Who knows? I gave it a rather so-so review at the time. I reviewed this first in 2007. It was one of those movies, I wasn't even planning on watching it really, but the DVD was just lying around my house. I think my sister had it, so I just threw it in. Yeah, and I largely enjoyed it. I'm not going to give it a rave review. The star power of this movie is pretty amazing. You've got Ben Stiller, Dick Van Dyke, Mickey Rooney, Ricky Gervais, Owen Wilson, Robin Williams, and even more, which is kind of, I don't know, struck me as a little bit weird for kids because kids don't care about star power, but I guess their parents do. Ben Stiller is somebody whose kind of reputation has gone up and down over the years, but I personally have always been a fan. He's always been one of my favorite comedians. I think Ben Stiller is brilliantly funny if the writers give him something to work with. In this movie, I think about 50% of the time, the writers were giving him something he could work with. The other 50%, he wasn't great, but I don't think that's his fault. I just think it's the material. Also, I love Ricky Gervais. I've loved Ricky Gervais ever since I saw the Office, the British version. He's not in this movie long. He's only in for about 5 minutes, but the 5 minutes he's in it is solid. He's playing the clueless manager again, kind of much like his role in The Office, but he's funny. He does a good job of playing the clueless manager. It's a typical family movie. It's told from the point of view of the parent, but it has the usual cheesy fortune cookie type life lessons and inspirational speeches built in. There are some funny parts in this movie, but I wouldn't say there's a lot of sophisticated adult humor, like there is in Pixar movies. On the whole, this movie is aimed squarely at the lowest common denominator. Slapstick, funny voices. It's aimed solely at the younger kids, really. I didn't hate it. I enjoyed most of it. At this point, probably almost everybody in the world has seen this movie. But if you haven't seen this movie, it's worth watching if you come across it. I wouldn't go out of your way for it.